In this video, we're going to have a look at the calendar tool. Now the calendar tool actually appears in a widget right on the main homepage as long as you're using the default homepage that we've rolled out for Grand Erie. So it's going to appear right here. Yours won't have anything within it at the time, but we'll get to that. Now the calendar tool can be really a useful one, mostly for students. Obviously teachers, we have our own way of organizing things and probably have our own calendars and have got that all figured out. But for students, it's a really great place that will have all the due dates for different tools within the VLE. So for assignments, discussions, all of that will appear in the calendar. Or if you're having, class or school events, all of it will appear in one singular place for them to see it all and get organized. So to get started with how to use the calendar tool, the first thing we want to quickly do is make a copy of this homepage. So unfortunately, there's a few tools that just right off the bat are not available. So if I click on this down arrow, there's a few things here that are not appearing because I'm using the default copy of the home page. So what you want to do is make a quick copy of it, and by doing that, you're going to be able to use a few new functions of this widget that you weren't able to before. So just go to Edit Course, Home Pages, go down to where it says 2020 Intermediate Senior. This is the default copy used from K to 12. You can tell that it says active. Press the down arrow and hit copy. And then at that point, go over here to this drop-down menu, choose the copy and apply it. Now we haven't done any editing of the home page, and if you're interested in that, or have already done that, and you can just skip this step. If you're interested in editing a home page, you just need to go to the VLE PLE in that video about customizing the home pages there. So now that we've done that, nothing's changed, but we're now using a copy that exists just within the shell. And because of that, we have a few new ways to customize the widget. And that's really where I want to start with how to use this tool. So the first is go to Style This Widget. And in Style This Widget, Prohibit Minimizing Widget will probably be unchecked. You want to check that. And the reason being is students can, if that's unchecked, students can minimize it and then never come back to it, not realizing that things are starting to appear in it. By clicking here, students are unable to close it, so they're always going to see the upcoming events. You can also choose whether you want to display the name or not. Sometimes that's prohibitive, but honestly, with this one, I would probably keep it just because that's the name. But you can get rid of this by clicking that, and it'll get rid of this little title there. Okay. The other thing I want you to go to is customize this widget. And this just gives you two different things. So the first is how many events do you want it to show? Totally up to you, and obviously totally up to the class. If depending on your learners, they may not want to see up to 10 things that are upcoming. Maybe you switch it down to 5 things, just so it's a little more manageable and doesn't cause any stress. The other thing is which events to show you. So I would always recommend show only events in this org unit. Org unit's a really fancy Brightspace name for course. So show only events in this course. If you click this other one, it's going to show all of the different things that the student has due in all their other courses, and will also show all the things that you have set up in your course, other courses as well. It just gets really complicated and confusing, so I would only show the events for this course to show up in this course, right? We don't want to complicate things. Okay. Now the other thing to understand about the calendar tool is a lot of the things feed into it. So a lot of the stuff you're doing in assignments, discussions, grade items, they're all going to appear in here by using those other tools. And I'll show you what I mean by that. But just a quick overview. So if I down click here, by default it's closed, but I can open up the calendar and it will show me the whole month. Wherever there's a blue dot, it will actually be where something is upcoming. And if I click there, it will actually show up it will show up down here, events for April 30th. So there's a World War I quiz. And then if I click again, it will just show all upcoming events. Again, we just set it so it will only show 5 upcoming events at a time. And then if a student clicks on that, so like Shakespeare Essay Due, what's nice is it actually will show them the assignment Dropbox for them to click here and actually go right to it. Now, in terms of setting things up so that they appear in the calendar, a lot of that will happen in the tools, individual tools, as I said. So let's just go over a few examples of that. So if I go to an assignment, and I'm going to create a new one, and I'm going to call it testing for calendar. And what it needs to have is a due date. By having a due date, it will automatically appear in the calendar. You don't have to click any more buttons about appearing in calendars or anything like that for assignments. Just having a due date will have it appear. So let's have this one due on April 23rd. Again, you can pick a particular time, and let's press save and close. We don't want to get into all of the things for the assignment. And by doing that, it will then appear in this list as well. So there's my testing for calendar. It will always show the top 5 most recent ones that are upcoming, because I don't have many in the shell. That one actually appears even though this is April 23rd is a ways off from this recording. But there it is. And then when they click on it, automatically gives the link to that, and you're good to go. So it's just a really nice way of collecting things from across multiple tools. If I go to discussions, and let's say that this weekly learning logs, or let's say the culminating process journal, it has a start date. So I'm going to edit the forum. And as long as my forum under the restrictions tab has a start date, I can choose to display it in the calendar. So I'm going to put this one on April 6th. I want it to display in the calendar. Save, and then as soon as I've done that, it will now appear in my calendar. Culminating process journal available. So this is, again, collecting tools from across assignments, across discussions. You can even do it in grade items. So like, just as an example, if I go to grade items, so let's say you're doing a presentation in class, but you want to make sure the grade goes into Brightspace as well for them to see all of their grades in one place. Let's say that this monologue, we want this to show up in calendar, and because it doesn't have a Dropbox or anything like that. This is just something I'll mark in class and then input here. I press the down arrow, go to edit, and you would do this if you're making a new grade item too. Same thing, it's under restrictions. Has a start date. Let's put that one as, let's put it on Friday, next Monday. Display in calendar. That same button, save and close, and there we go. Now our grade item is also going to appear in the calendar as well. And notice that it's only displaying the 5. Okay, so we've some other ones have been cut out. We would just press show more to see the rest. The last piece is you can also include new events within the calendar. So the way to do that, so if it's not coming from a specific tool in Brightspace, but let's say you have, a class party coming up, or there's a big school event coming up and you really want your students to know about it, you would actually add the event within the calendar. So press the down arrow, go to calendar, and this will open up the calendar tool. Students are able to do this as well, so they can see, day by day events, they can see by week. I always like it by month, because then I can see, all of the things that are due. So students have this view as well. But as the teacher, let's say you want to create an event. So create an event, and it's Friday, Wacky Hair Day. You can connect it to content. Obviously, in this case, I would not, but you can connect things in content to a specific event. You would then have your description of the event. You can connect pictures, other links to, if the event is an international event that has a website, you can connect it that way. Lots of things you can obviously put in the HTML editor. If you have groups, or it's only for specific people, in this case, it's everybody in the course. When, let's say it is this Friday. And yep, just for the day. You can add reoccurrences or those types of things, and then a location if you have one. In this case, I don't. Press create, and now it will show up in my calendar as well as Friday Wacky Hair Day. So then it's not obviously a curricular event, but it's still an important one for the more of the social aspect of my course or my classroom. So I still want it there. But that's essentially the calendar tool. Great way to organize course content and more of the social aspect of your class, but a powerful tool for your students.